We're going live. We're live
Hey, Brian.
ish. We're live ish. Okay. So you're testing that comment thing
Yeah.
while we get ourselves prepared. And okay, so you're gonna post a comment, right?
I am posting a comment right now.
All right, good.
Wait
So
a minute. I was posting on your.
no, I want you to post it on my personal
Yeah.
page.
No, I was doing the wrong place.
Okay. And then I'm gonna test this whole. Oh no, I guess I could just. I'll wing it. I'll wing that part. Okay, so let's see what happened here. All right, so I saw your comment. Oh, all right, so it seems to be working. Hey, y'all. All right. And there's one viewer. That must be you.
Well, then that's you because I'm on your page, I think.
All right. Well,
Or maybe it is
I'm
me.
going to close out that because I don't need to see that. I don't need to
So you
see
want me to
that.
close it? I'll close you out on Facebook too.
You can if you want. Yeah.
All right.
So
Because it's weird.
okay. Awesome. We have some viewers. I think if I'm using this tool right, we're using this tool called StreamYard, and we're still learning a lot about how to use it. But that's kind of the name of the game.
Right. It's part of
Name
the COVID-19 shuffle.
the COVID-19 shuffle. I like that. That sounds pretty interesting. I'm going to put our little ticker up. There we go. Have something to say? Post your comments. All right. So,
Yeah. And let me just
okay,
say,
everybody.
I would say that if you're coming in live, put a 1 in there.
Yeah.
If coming in the recording, put in a 2.
I like that. If you're live, put a 1 in the comments wherever you're live. We've got this broadcasting in 3 different locations because why not? We can. Just put a 1 in the comments if you are live. Let us know you're here by putting a 1 in the comments if you're live, or even putting your city name. I like knowing where people are dialing or calling in from, or I don't know. Is it calling in? Is that what we call it?
Whoa, that's a good question because they're not calling, but they're
Well, I don't know. Maybe they're calling
to us. They're watching from
wherever you're watching from. If you're watching, I see some of you. I can see that there are people watching. So if you're watching, please put your city name in so we know that you're here. And if you're just like too shy to do that, well, okay. So today, what Ronan and I wanted to talk about is like kind of the struggle, the struggle of doing something different, new, pivoting under kind of duress and stress. And we were talking about this yesterday, and it occurred to me that when I first began my path, my entrepreneurial path, I was under extreme financial and emotional stress at that time back in early 2009. And it also occurred to me that the thing that I needed to do, or I felt I needed to do back then, but I had never done before, was to learn how to use YouTube. I recall a few years earlier than that, in 2006, I was actually in Las Vegas before I lived in Las Vegas at a conference. And during that conference, there was a panel of speakers. And some of these names you might actually be familiar with. I didn't know any of these people back then. One of the speakers was Gary Vaynerchuk on this panel, who a lot of people are now familiar with the Wine Library TV, and he's a huge social media, guy. Another one of the speakers on that panel was a guy named Joel Comm. And those of you who don't know who Joel Comm is, he's a very famous internet marketer type. He actually published the very first fart app on the Apple Store. It was called iFart. And after that app, like a whole bunch of people created fart apps to the point where Apple started to ban any new fart apps on their phone. But he was the first one, and he made like hundreds of thousands of dollars off of people downloading iFart on the Apple Store. Pretty funny. So he was a speaker. The other speaker was the lady who ran the marketing department for buy.com. And the topic was video. And back in 2006, not very many businesses, not very many people were using video, and they were saying how this is going to be the next big thing. You got to start learning how to use video, blah, blah, blah. And then so fast forward from there about 3 years, and I am faced with having to pivot. I was in a partnership prior to that just totally fell apart. And it occurred to me, I need to learn how to use video. And so I actually published my very first YouTube video because I got wind of a company that was looking to hire somebody to do online marketing for them. And so I bought their product, and it's a funny product, at least for me, because it's in the beauty space, which I have no experience in. And of all things, it was a product that helped you tan your body. And I'm about as pale white as Casper the Ghost. So I'm sitting here with this beauty product that is going to tan my skin. And I'm thinking, well, if I did kind of some sort of a demo video of this product, and then I get it to show up well on YouTube, maybe that would be enough to convince this company that they might want to talk to me. And so I did just that. I actually demonstrated this product on a video, and then I uploaded the video to YouTube, and I keyword optimized it for sunless tanning products. And it went to #1 on the YouTube search engine almost overnight. Back in 2009, there wasn't very much competition on YouTube. And I was no SEO expert by any means, but it worked. And so I sent an email to the president of the company showing her what I had done. And I'm going to play a little bit of this video. And the reason I'm going to play this video is that it's an example of getting way out of my comfort zone, which I'm doing again today, in a lot of ways. Ronan and I both are, because we're in a financially stressful environment. We're all having to pivot in personal ways and in business ways. And it really reminded me back in 2009 when I made this video. So I'm just going to play a little bit so you can see where I started with video. Hopefully it'll inspire those of you that are also thinking that you need to do something differently, that it can be a little messy. It can look a little strange. It can feel very weird, and it doesn't have to be perfect, because I'll share the upshot of this story after I play a little bit of this video. So let's see if I can find it. All right, here it is. Share audio. And here's my screen. So here I am. My very first online video in February of 2009. I still had color in my goatee. But I look kind of the same, don't I? I haven't changed a whole lot other than the white beard. Anyway, check this out. Here, you have a comment, Ronan?
Oh, just the glasses, you know.
Oh yeah. Well, I wasn't wearing. I'm now wearing glasses, but you'll see why I had to take my glasses off in a minute, because they're on here.
Hi, I am Brian Williams.
Can you hear the audio?
Also known as the Internet Marketing Business Wizard. I'm here with a very, very...
I called myself the Internet Marketing Business Wizard. I don't even know why. That's pretty funny.
Important message for you and your family, and that is, you've got to protect yourself, if you're not already protecting yourself, from the damaging rays of the sun.
Here I am acting like some kind of an expert on skin cancer, because I'm about to demo this sunless tanning product, which I've never seen or used before. I'm going to fast forward a little bit, because it's really embarrassing how bad I was. But let me just show you this product. So the first part of this product is this exfoliating mitt.
And
so I'm fumbling around opening up this package.
Pull it out. You got a mitt. And on it is the solution, and it's kind of rough, so it exfoliates.
And I decided to use it on my bald head.
A little bit hair challenged. And you just clean your skin. You can do this with
your
whole body. You can take this in the shower.
This was my attempt at getting my first client. Okay, so let's fast forward further to where I open up the actual tanning solution. Now that my head's all nice and exfoliated.
And when you take out your hand, you're already in the mitt, and it's in the plastic liner. And so the product, the tanning product, is already infused on the mitt. So you just basically take this, and you can put it on your face, you can put it on your whole body with a clean,
I cannot believe I actually did
skin.
this.
And watch, you just rub it on, like so, and you don't have to worry about getting on too thick.
All right. I think that's enough of that. So, so Ronan, what do you think of that video?
You know, you look like Goose from Top Gun.
Oh, a little bit.
Yeah,
a little bit.
When you had the glasses on, you know, I think this
go ahead.
This actually impresses me.
Why is that?
Because I don't know that I would have had the cojones to do that.
Well,
you know what I mean? Because
I was well outside my comfort zone. I can tell you that.
And you know what I like about this is, first of all, you didn't worry about a background, because like, who does it next to a window, right? You didn't worry about lighting. You didn't worry about wardrobe.
I had no. So this video, that's a great point. Let me tell you about the technology that I used to make this video. It was a Dell. It was like a 5-year-old Dell laptop that my buddy Eric, he's probably not watching, but my buddy Eric at the time loaned to me because I had no money. I didn't even have enough money for a computer. And so he loaned me this 5-year-old Dell laptop that I was using, and it had a webcam built into the Dell laptop. And I didn't have any lighting. I actually had to open up this side window next to me to get some lighting in this room that I was in my house. So I had the side lighting coming in on one side of my face. I had no special lighting, no special webcam, no special microphone, no technology really whatsoever. I don't even remember. I probably used whatever built-in webcam software was on the laptop to record the thing. And for those of you that are just joining us, I would, if you're live, please put a 1 in, or please put your city name in. I'd love to know where you're from. But what I just showed was this from 2009, early 2009, my very first video. And I made this as a promotional piece to throw up on YouTube. If you haven't thrown up by watching it, to show an example to this prospect client, which I didn't have any clients. I didn't have any business, but I needed money. And so I thought, I'll be an internet marketer. And so, and I have an agency. And so I did this video, and it ranked #1 on YouTube right away, or almost right away, for the keyword sunless tanning products. I sent an email to the president with this silly video. And then I get a call within a day from who ended up being the chairman of this company, who, when he called me, I could tell he was, he had a very deep New York type accent. And he asks for Brian. I said, "This is Brian." And he says, I forgot the guy's name actually, because I didn't do business with the chairman. I did business with the president, but he goes, his name is so-and-so. He saw my video about his product, and he almost sounded mad the way he said it. Like, "Yeah, I'm calling because I saw your video on YouTube that you made about our product." And I said to him, the first words out of my mouth were, "I'm sorry," because I thought he was mad at me. He's like, no, don't be sorry. We've been interviewing different marketing people to hire, and no one's ever taken that kind of initiative before. We love what you've done. What is your fee? What is your rate for marketing? And I'm thinking, do I have a rate? And I remember my wife and I having a conversation a few days before that we needed to just make ends meet. We needed $5,000 a month to make ends meet at that time. We hadn't made any money for months, and we were more than broke. And we just said, if we could just get to $5,000 a month, we could make it. And so when he said, "What is my rate?" I said, $5,000 a month. And he said, "Great, work up a contract, send me an invoice. Let's get started right away." And I almost was like, "Can you repeat? Excuse me?" And that is how I got started back in February of 2009 with became my very first digital marketing agency, and me as an entrepreneur.
So I want to circle back though, because we were talking about, essentially what we're talking about in this whole pivot thing is inspired actions, which is something that you've gone live about and done different things about taking inspired action. And that's what I love about this. It's sort of the quintessential example of not just getting out of your comfort zone, but just going for broke, right? Like, what have you got to lose?
Yeah.
You do the video. What's going to happen? It's not going to land. No one's going to do it. So what, right? But imagine
Pretty much, but it didn't feel like that at the time. It felt like the weight of the world.
Yeah. Imagine though, if you had not done what you did, right? If you had allowed all the considerations and all of the thoughts and all the stuff that goes through your head about doing something or not doing something, you just brushed it aside, or at least you brushed it aside long enough to get this done.
Yeah, I mean, I was desperate, and it really does. This video and this time frame in 2009 reminds me so much of what so many people are going through right now today. And I guess my message is sometimes you have to get way outside of your comfort zone. I mean, I don't necessarily look it in this video. I just look kind of stupid in this video, but I was I was nervous making the video and no one was even in the room with me. And then I was so hesitant to publish.
Well, at least you weren't camera shy.
But I was nervous just making it and no one was with me. And then I was like, okay, how am I going to publish this thing on YouTube? And I did. And then I was like, do I really want to send this thing off to this prospective client? And I did. And all that stuff was just so hard at the time. And I think, I know a lot of people right now are pivoting in ways that are way outside their comfort zone, or they're thinking about things that they ought to be doing. It's like nagging them, because I know this was nagging me. So there's so many of you out there, and I empathize with that feeling of knowing that there's something you should be doing, but being so resistant because you're afraid. And I can tell you, I get it, because this freaked me out, and it ended up landing me a $60,000 a year client. And they ended up staying with me for 2 years. This client, I never raised my rate with them. I ended up starting my agency with them. This one video really was a catalyst for me, not only earning $120,000 over a 2-year period, it also was the catalyst for me starting my first digital marketing agency, which I'm still doing today.
To that too, because this is 2009, not long after 2008. So, this is at a challenging time for a lot of other people too.
Yeah, 2009 was a tough year for a lot of people, and it's kind of like it. I mean, I think this is even maybe worse right now. And it was, let's see, so this was in February of 2009. It was in July of 2009 when I moved out here to Las Vegas. And there's a story behind that. I mean, Ronan knows the story. But I needed to leave. I was living in West Hills, California. If anybody knows anything about West Hills, it's a relatively expensive area in the LA basin. It's right next to Calabasas, right next to Hidden Hills and Bell Canyon. Hidden Hills and Bell Canyon are where a lot of movie stars and producers live. We used to sneak in there during Halloween as a side, and we would trick or treat at like Will Smith's house and Howie Mandel's house.
They gave out whole candy bars, right?
They give out, the big family size Snickers bars. Yeah, I'll never forget knocking on Will Smith's door, and his wife's name is Jade, something like that. Jada. She answers the door, and the kids are little. The kids are like, I think Joseph was maybe 6 or 7, and they see Will Smith in the background, and Joseph says, that's the guy from Men in Black. I'm like, yeah, shh, take the candy, be polite, let's move on, it's cool. But anyway, so I'm living in this very, very expensive area. I can't afford it. I mean, I'm broke. So we had to leave and go somewhere where we could afford to live and start a business. And so Vegas was our shot, and we're still here. But when you and I were talking about this the other day, Ronan, I'm like, you know what? This time right now reminds me so much of back then. And although, knock on wood, I'm in a much better place financially today and emotionally today. There's still so many things that we're doing, like even this, like learning how to use this new tool is a little stressful, and doing things that we weren't doing a month ago.
Well, and I think that also points to something else, which is that when you're dealing with reality, right? Like when you're just dealing with what's really happening in an objective way, you have the opportunity to see, there's the chance of seeing an opportunity. So that's why we're here, because you and I have recognized that now there's this tool that we can do a whole lot of other things that we couldn't do before. And I think in really good and easier times, we tend to get complacent, right? So we get complacent, Absolutely. Things are working, things are okay. We start to get comfortable. It's sort of like I planted the tree, now I'm reaping the fruit. I'm picking the fruit. And we get comfortable with that. And then we don't realize, well, but we're not watering the tree. We're not taking care of the tree. We're not pruning the tree. So there's not more fruit coming. And then someone else's tree is growing a lot faster. So for me, it has a lot to do with, that these disruptions are opportunities. Now they're not fun, right? They're not fun. They're painful. They're like passing a kidney stone.
Yeah, they are.
Right. But here's the thing. After you pass the kidney stone, guess what? Feel great, right? I mean, there's relief.
Did you just ventriloquist sneeze, by the way?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay, because I heard a sneeze, but I wasn't seeing you sneeze, so you kind of threw the sneeze. That's pretty impressive, Ronan. We got to talk about that skill you have. So, that's funny. Love working out of the home studio.
That's our stage manager.
What's that?
That's our stage manager.
Oh, right. We have a stage manager. I didn't even know. So if you're listening to this live, please comment and tell us that you're at least there. It makes us feel not so lonely. We're all sheltered here in our houses. And so say something, if you would. But one other thing that you and I were talking about is witnessing so many other types of businesses that are stepping out of their comfort zone and doing some interesting things. I was telling you just this afternoon that my wife, Rachel, has been signing us up on Gold Star, and I don't even know, like maybe Groupon. I'm not really sure where she's finding these things, but she keeps signing us up for these socially connected but physically distant entertainment packages. The other day, we did a couples trivia game through Zoom. I think she signed up for it on Gold Star. It was like $10 or something like that. A few days prior to that, we did a DJ dance party with 100 other people on Zoom that was sponsored by a charity organization. Tonight, in a few minutes, actually at 5:00, the whole family, the 3 kids and Rachel and I, are doing some sort of Disney bingo game through Zoom that she signed us up for. And it's and then last weekend we Rachel signed us up for this drag queen show that they were trying to raise money because their venue is closed, obviously, right now in San Francisco. And it was actually a really good show, and they had all their entertainers doing their routines from their homes. And so I'm seeing like pivots happening in the entertainment world like that are in some ways kind of exciting. And so you're right, like it's painful, it's stressful, and on the one hand, and on the other hand, it also could be like you said, after you pass this stone, coming out the other side, it could be very exciting, both from economics, from a growth and learning perspective. It's just hard while you're going through it. Really hard, for sure.
Yes, we have a great comment from Kyle.
I don't see. Oh wait, I'm not looking at the comments. There we go. Hey, Kyle. I know Kyle. He's a childhood friend of mine. We go way back to, wow, pre-high school. In fact, the story, so here's a quick story. So Kyle's brother, Robert, his older brother, Robert, is responsible for introducing Rachel and me together. How's that for going way back? Anyway, Kyle, let's see. What's your comments? Let's post it up here. See that? We have this new technology. I know how to use it a little bit. Let's see. Oh, yeah. He runs a real estate brokerage. Yeah, most agents. Yeah, most agents don't. So it's a hard thing. I mean, here's the thing, though. I mean, as hard as it is and as stressful as it is, there is something to say about Darwinian theory here. And, you know, what his theory is what the strongest or the fittest will survive. Today, that might mean more those that are most not able, adaptable, but willing to change and adaptable to change and really willing to fall and on their face and skin their knees. And that's part of the reason I showed that video early on. I mean, I'll pull it up on the screen again. I'm not going to play it, but you can see, you can see how dorky I look in this video. I mean, it was not a good video. Nothing about it was really good, except it landed me my first client. That was good. But the video quality, the script was non-existent. The lighting was horrible. The technology was horrible.
But it was good enough. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
obviously,
I'm not saying like good enough, like settle for something. It was good enough given the circumstances, you know, because I think a lot of times people wait for things to be perfect or they won't take the action. And this is good enough to take the action and look at the results that you produced.
I mean, it launched my new career in a lot of ways. So, well, that's kind of it. That's kind of our message is just, you know, empathizing with the pain and the struggle of having to be brave right now. And it really is. It's about being brave. There's no escaping, I don't think anyway, the fear of the change and the fear of having to adapt. It's bravery that we need, which is not the absence of fear. It's the willingness to go through it and to just whatever it takes. It's certainly not the absence of fear because we're also, I know that I'm going through a level of fear in a lot of the things that we're doing in our business. And yeah, so I don't know. Anything else you want to add? I think we've kind of exhausted this topic. We've gone on for a half.
You know, it occurs to me like we're pretty well settled into this situation. It's not as new as it was. It is the hot topic of conversation. I think part of what adds some anxiety for people is that it is actually temporary, right? Like we don't really know how long this is going to take. And there are forces outside of our control that are controlling things that are our lives in many ways. And so I think that adds to it. But even inside of all of that, you know, looking for the opportunity and taking the actions to do things is what's going to make the difference for everybody, right? Yeah. And you've highlighted plenty of examples. So what I would like is for everybody that sees this now live or later on when it gets posted, just put what is it that you're doing in your business today to pivot and move forward and not be, let's just say, a victim of this. You know, not that you're not impacted by it, but you're not a victim of it. You're out there doing something, whatever it is. We'd love to hear about it.
Absolutely. We would absolutely love to hear it. And it helps other people too. The reason that
there's an opportunity to feature people, you know, like anybody that posts and put their company, we'll be happy to feature them on the show.
Yeah, we've featured a lot of businesses over the last few weeks through live webinars and live broadcasts like this. In fact, one of our featured businesses, we've had up to 350 attendees on Zoom webinars with them, and it's helping their business. They brought in revenue, a lot of revenue as a result of that, and it's helping them quite a bit, and it's helping us in other ways. So yeah, we'd love to, if you've got a business you want to feature, I mean, especially if you've got a story about what kinds of things you're doing, or even what kinds of things you're thinking about doing to pivot your business, comment anywhere. We've got this thing broadcast in three different locations right now, and it'll be available right away after we end this call. But yeah, we're mostly interested in helping, honestly, helping each other. And Ronan, you mentioned something about, people believe that this whole thing is temporary, and that I believe is true. And also, there's this fear of, well, how long will it last? As you mentioned, I think there's another fear. At least it's a fear that I have. What are the everlasting changes,
right,
as a result of all this? And I don't know that anybody really comprehends that. I certainly don't.
Think about it this way. You're running down the field with the football. You're not running necessarily in a straight line. So, we're pivoting in one direction, we're doing something, and as things develop, we'll just pivot in another direction. But once you have the ability to pivot, then it doesn't really matter. Whatever's in your way, you just pivot out of the way and keep moving forward. So, I get that, because, for me, it's the same thing. Is this going to be 1 month, 2 months? Look, we're here in Vegas. The Las Vegas Strip has not been shut down since 1963, and that was for one day. I think that was Kennedy's funeral after he was assassinated. So
it's been shut down for 3 weeks now.
Yeah, and no end in sight.
Yeah.
So crazy.
I mean, here in Vegas, there's more people unemployed than employed right now.
Right.
Which is just very scary and weird.
Yeah, it's eerie. Yeah. So, like everything, we'll get through it, right? We got through World War II. We'll get through this. We got through the Great Depression. We'll get through this. The question will always be, where will you be at the end of it? And it'll all be determined by the actions you take today. That's it.
Yeah. Well, hey, for those of you that were listening live or watching the replay, we thank you and really encourage you to comment. Tell us what you're doing to pivot your life, your business, or what you're thinking about doing that you might be hesitant or fearful of. Maybe we can help, or maybe someone that's watching or listening can help.
Yeah, we'll share it.
It's a great time to ask for help. We've been asking for help too. So, okay, Ronan, it's been my pleasure. I will talk to you as I always do every day, because we're in business together. So
and we're moving forward.
That's what we do. All right, my friend.
Take care.
Take care.